Hello, everyone. I hope everyone can hear me okay. Let me know if you can or can't. I think everyone should, though. I'm so excited to be here with y'all today. It's so nice of you all to show up. Hey, Firefox. Hey, Yannicka. Hey, Anastasia. Hey, Divinely Discoursing. Hey, everybody. This is going to be really fun. Oh my God, my dad's here. Hey, how's it going? Oh, thank you, Firefox. Hey, Rose, so good to see you. Okay, so I'm really excited to jump in with you guys on some mix of tarot teaching, tarot readings, and mystical madness. So, what we'll do to warm up for everyone here that's early, I'm going to do a few readings for you guys. And then we're going to shift into maybe like a mini tarot class where I will do any combination of answer your tarot questions and get into topics that you want me to get into. And if you want, I kind of prepared a small thing. It's actually a really big thing on looking at the elements esoterically and mystically. So how can we understand the four elements of the tarot through not just concepts that organize reality, but direct experiences and mystical philosophy. So that'll probably take 5 hours. We'll see. I don't know. But yeah, and then we'll do maybe a few more readings at the end. And yeah, so thank you all for being here. I'm really excited. This is Sunday, right? It's a beautiful Sunday. Let's go. Yeah, me too. Cool. So to start off, what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask, if anyone wants to download the guide of what I will be working from, there's a guide that I think it looks like this. I literally just linked it to the description of this video. So we might be resourcing this guide a little bit if we get into some esoteric elemental stuff. If you're in my curriculum if you're in the Tarot and Astrology course, if you're in my Advanced Tarot course, you definitely have the full version of this guide, but this is like a smaller free version that I've attached to this video. If anyone wants to download, we might get to it eventually, but yeah. So what I'd like to do is for all of you, everyone here that's on time, well, I'll get through as many as I possibly can, but we'll do it kind of first come, first serve. I'm going to do rapid fire readings. And yeah, if you have a question reading-wise that you life-wise, we'll get into that gig for a bit. So now's a good time to put your question in the chat, and I'll do like maybe the first like 6 or so that show up. And if I don't get to your reading, you can ask again at the end of this live, and I may be able to get to it then. And if you're watching the pre-recorded version of it, in about 5, 10, or 15 minutes, we'll get into some more lecture teaching material. All right, so let's get into this gig. I'm so happy to be live with you guys. By the way, I know I'm so backed up on emails right now, so I'm so sorry if I owe you an email. Everything is so backed up because it's the last week before the launch of the 2023-2024 curriculum. So it's been crazy in a great way, in a good way, but it's been very saturated with a lot of stuff, which is fun. All right, I invoke thee, Iao, that thou send Heru, the great angel, set upon the operation of the secret wisdom, to lay his invisible hands upon these consecrated cards of art, that thereby we may obtain knowledge of hidden things in your ineffable name. Amen. All right, cool. Let's get cooking. So we are looking at... Okay, so another thing you can do, a really good thing you can do, especially if you're learning tarot, is watch me read. When I was learning tarot, some of the most effective ways for me to learn was actually to go and get a reading from someone and then take what worked for me. So a lot of the things that I learned practically in the actual divination process was I saw somebody do it and I was like, ooh, what was that about? And then I kind of just explored it in my own practice, and then it started to click for me. conversely, you can like if you're learning tarot, you could watch what I'm doing and notice what doesn't click with you and say, okay, that doesn't really make sense or doesn't vibe with me, so I'm gonna do something different. So yeah, like I always love reading, like watching Christiana Gaudet read tarot is so fun. She's just like brilliant. So it always inspires me. I don't know. Okay, Rose, what do you need to know? Okay, we're getting the Knight of Wands and the Hierophant card. Okay, so what I'm getting for you, Rose, is getting stable in some sort of repetition pattern. This could be anything from like your morning walk ritual, anything from like magical occult ritual to like normal day-to-day ritual that gets you in the rhythm of the life that you want. And by doing that, it will allow you to take more risk when the opportunity for risk and reward shows itself. You'll be able to say yes to yourself for this by having this. So get comfortable with what you know, admit to yourself what you know, and then allow yourself to explore what you don't know. I'd love a reading for this week. Okay, Intuitive Renee says, hey Joe, I'd love a reading for the week ahead, please. Okay, so 4 of this is telling me that I think you're expecting or hoping for something to happen, but I don't see anything happening. But that's because it's time to take appreciation, take stock of what you already have. Because after, like towards the end of the week, maybe 6 days from now or so, we're looking at some new energy coming in, and I'm getting friends or relatives coming in with new experiences that aren't necessarily easy to handle, but are good things down the road. So if there's any like news that's like not so fun, trust that that's actually leading to something really good. There's a little bit of a frantic energy around a friend or a family member right now. So maybe they just need you to be the home base for them. Divinely discoursing. My question, should I move to New Jersey? Oh my goodness. Who would want to move to New Jersey? I'm just kidding. I could say that because I'm actually from New Jersey. Divinely discoursing. Knight of Wands is saying yes. So Knight of Wands is a Sagittarius, first 2 decans of Sagittarius, 8 and 9 of Wands. It's saying yes. It's saying new adventures, new experiences, new people. And somehow that level of the novelty of it all will actually propel your whatever spiritual work you're doing or personal work you're doing. Yeah. When will this cycle? Okay, Nada says, when will this cycle of discomfort be over for me? How can I navigate it until then? Okay, so let's talk about this. The cycle of discomfort. So this is where I want to put my mystic hat on, because it's like from a kind of like a weird ontological place, like when is there not absolute? There's never absolute comfort, right? Because there's always change. So thoughts, feelings, emotions, sensations, all of these things are done, made, different, or changeable. I'm getting into my Hermeticism a little bit here. All these things are done, made, different, or changeable. And we're always in the act of doing them, making them, changing them, or whatever. So my biggest thing for discomfort, this is for everybody too, because we all have discomfort, we all have suffering, and honestly, my mission is to end suffering, right? I don't know what's more practical. Is returning to the observer. Maybe some of you have heard this before, the observer, the silent witness, that through which it all shows up. So when you're experiencing discomfort, the discomfort gets more uncomfortable when we try to like fight it and make it something else, or get rid of it, or get to the other side of it. So in order, like, how do you navigate it is literally being with it, is just observing it, is just watching it. Because when you watch it, you recognize that it is an object of your awareness. And when you can do that and you can say, oh, I'm uncomfortable, whether it's emotional, physical, whatever, you separate the identity with that suffering or with that discomfort. And it actually, I find, especially for like non-physical things, but physical things too, it helps the healing process. But let's pull a card for you. Let's see. The Empress. Essentially what I just said is the Empress is healing and self-care. And yeah, it's self-care time. It's self-love. It's patience. It's artistry, it's self-pampering, and just being with what is, you know. And there's a passive quality to this. This is the number 3, right? The Empress. And she's connected to salt, and she's connected to the divine feminine, and she's connected to the passivity required of the universe to do what it does. So yeah, I would just lots of surrender, lots of letting go. When will this end? 10 of Cups. This could be a 10-month thing. I'm not saying it will be intense for 10 months, but I see like a major healing within 10 months with incremental healings along the way. But that's going to be totally up to you. You know, you time is always in here, so it's going to be totally up to you. Hey, Rainbow Watcher. Okay, Miss Kitty wants a love reading. Yes, let's do that. Okay. I'm kind of thinking of doing a love manifestation tarot class or tarot course, by the way, because I have several students and several of my own past experiences where tarot and love, you know, they make a great pair. Okay, Miss Kitty. So 9 of Swords, there's certain patterns that are still running in your mind-body system that may be creating certain recurring patterns in your relationships. I mean, let's be honest, that's the truth with all of us. This is not just you, you know, we all have our patterns. But the 9 of Swords is saying it's like, this is a place of going within, and there's a lot of a need to release judgment. Here's the mantra. I'm going to give you a mantra. The mantra is everyone's doing the best they can with what they believe to be true, and nobody is yours. That's the mantra. Everyone's doing the best they can with what they believe to be true, and nobody is really yours. Everything is just the universe coming and going. So in the matters of love, people just come and go. It's just, that's how it is. And when you can know that, this is for everyone that's dealing with love, by the way. When you can know that, it releases the expectations and judgments and points of views that we have been taught about what love and marriage and family is. And when we allow ourselves to release those expectations, judgments, and points of views about what these things should be, the other person, the partner, will feel a sense of freedom that they may have never felt in any relationship. If you can love someone without like loving them just because they exist, they will feel that. It will, trust me. Then they won't leave you alone. So the 9 of Swords is the opposite of that, is when there is any sense, when we can sense any sense of like anything is ever missing, right? I've worked with tons of love clients. You know, tarot is huge with love. And the biggest thing is realizing there's nothing that can ever be missing. There's nothing that you lack. When you know that, when you can see yourself as whole and the other person as whole, you recognize the natural freedom that you are, which allows a lot of fun to happen. It's a whole nother level of love. I know that was like a little bit deep. I didn't mean to call your shit out, but that's a message for everyone, including me, things I have learned over time. Liana, will your marriage survive? All right, let's see. Will your marriage survive? Oh, so the Prince of Swords is telling me it's in this, it's staying in this limbo for a little bit. And I don't want to say that, but that's what the Prince of Swords is showing me. It's staying like on the fence for maybe both you and partner. So let's see what we got here. I actually, you know what? So universe is ending, but I actually see it kind of ultimately at this point in time, I see it surviving, but I don't know if that's the best path for you. Of course, will it survive in a way that's partially up to you? So the question is it worth it? Really, you know, put a pros and cons list together, check in with your body. As I'm talking about it, what does it feel like in your body right now? As I'm talking about the marriage potentially lasting, You know, you might feel a heaviness in the body. If that's the case, maybe the marriage isn't for you. You might feel a lightness. If that's the case, maybe the marriage is for you. But these cards are saying there's kind of this limbo period, but it's kind of going to survive, but it's not perfect. Yeah. Med Jai says, I'm new with Curly Tarot. I'm following the book, but at the end, all have sense. But I feel without the book, I won't be able to read it. What should I do to learn to read it without the book? Okay, so a couple things. The Thoth deck is not. Thoth deck is really not a deck that you can like memorize. Well, you can memorize meanings and work with it. You totally can, but to really understand it, you need to know astrology, you need to know Kabbalah, and you need to know a little bit about Crowley. You don't have to be head over heels for him. You know, you could totally divorce him and still use the deck, but you need to know a little bit about where he's coming from. Those are the three main ingredients. And all of those ingredients are in the Book of Thoth, but they're like they're very advanced. He's speaking to you as if you have some level of knowledge of this material. So I love Lon Malo Duquette's book, Understanding the Thoth Deck, I think it's called. And then there's a couple other books. If you email me, I can send you a list. Of course, I'm going to recommend my Thoth Tarot Mastery course if you have not enrolled in it. I have a Thoth Tarot Mastery course and a Thoth Tarot Mysticism course, which goes through everything, both practically, mystically, and ontologically, looking at the Kabbalah, the astrology, all the elements and all the symbols. And I'm teaching it in next year. By the way, in a week, the whole curriculum starts for all my tarot courses, 2023, 2024. And I decided that I'm not going to be teaching them all again. So I've opened up some more spots for that. Spots actually closed. We reached about like 48 or 49 people or so for Tarot Divination course, and I was going to close it at that. But I'm deciding to make more spots because I don't think I'm going to be teaching Tarot Divination course ever again. Not to be dramatic, but I'm literally just being called to other stuff. I'm going to be teaching mysticism. I'm going to be teaching manifestation. I'm going to go into the world of Pythagoras and numbers and meditating and curating spaces, tools, texts, and resources to essentially approach mysticism and do all that non-duality. So so because of that, I have some more spaces if anyone is interested but missed the cutoff for that. You can find more information on that at tarotmysticismacademy.com or shoot me an email or comment on this video. But I would recommend my course. Lon Malo Duquette's book is amazing. I have some videos too. Just shoot me an email on that and I can help you with that. But yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot of stuff. And it's Thoth deck is like when you think you know it, you're like, oh, okay. And then it like does this whole remix on you and you're like, whoa, it goes even further. It's really cool. But also, all of that, considering all of that, intuition, intuition is like, it can also be simple. As complex as it is, as much as there is to study, pulling the card and just saying what comes to you. Really, yeah, even in the Thoth deck. Okay, I think I lost my place. I'm so sorry, everyone, I lost my place. Okay, I found my place. Should I start a new diet? Okay, Rainbow Watcher, should you start a new diet? Let's see. The Prince of Cups is, it could be cool. It could be cool. If you start a new diet, though, make it part of a larger lifestyle shift that you're excited about. I wouldn't just do it for the diet. I would have an image, an intellectual image, and an emotional draw to the vision of what you want for your life. Prince of Cups loves that. He's all about the big transformations. What should I know about my love life? Firefox asks. We got two cards coming out. We have the Lovers and the Six of Cups. Your love life is about to get started in the next week or so. Dating is a spiritual practice, by the way. Go out and date and enjoy it. And I really think you're going to meet someone very important very soon. I got a mundane question about work. Like, should I go into a mundane labor work or wait to be able to do something that's more fulfilling? Or is money just not a thing for my life? Money is a thing for everyone's life if you choose it. I know my opinion is not going to be popular with everybody, but money is just the lubrication of society. No, that's a weird way to say it, but it really is. It's it's like water to fish. It's just energy that moves around, and how we play with time. Essentially, it's really how we play with time. So if money is a thing for you if you choose it. I don't care what your astrology says. I don't care what your human design says. I don't care what anything says. Money it's energy. It's a choice. For some people, it's easier. For other people, it's not as easy. Like, I'm not going to minimize people's like lived experience and that whole thing. But okay, should I go into a mundane labor or wait until I do something more fulfilling? Okay, the Ace of Cups is saying go for the thing that's more fulfilling, but let me just check what else we have. Then the Prince of Discs is saying go into what is most practical. These cards are saying start with what's most fulfilling, like today, take 3 actions in that direction, but tomorrow take 3 actions in the direction of what is safer so that you can do this with more freedom. That's a big thing. Anastasia, I'm wondering if my intuition about my current workplace are on point and how to rise above the best way possible. How to rise above the best way possible. Let's see. So the Ace of Swords is probably saying your intuition is right, or at least, well, there's no right. So here's the big question is, do you want to be right or do you want to be free? Freedom has no right and wrong. And this is what trips people up a lot is like in the spiritual world, we're always like looking at like, what is the right thing to do? And what is the compassionate thing to do? And at the ultimate, at the top of the tree of life in Keter and Ein Sof, there is no division at all. You know, there's just the reality. And in that vein, what I'm going to say is there's no division that needs to be made about what's right and wrong, but there is an awareness of the Ace of Swords pouring into the situation from your perspective. So I think your point of view is valid and it's important, and it's a contribution potentially it's an awareness of where you work right now. Now that awareness, not everybody wants to be aware of what's going on. So how can you rise above? It's like, you know, a truth. Can they receive it? That's the question. So how can you rise above? Communication, inspired action, and essentially going for the truth. I think conversations, even if they're not comfortable, can quickly turn into inspired, an inspired plan of activity. Cindy asks, hi, what is next for me at work? Great question. I love all the work questions. I love all the love questions. I love all the questions. At work, we're looking at, okay, so 5 of Swords is somebody's not playing nice. I'm getting a sense of manipulation, judgment, some hierarchical things, lots of ego. I'm not saying that this is you, but I am saying that this is in the environment. So just be careful of that. Keep your boundaries up energetically. And in some ways, you do have to play the game. And actually, you're pretty good at playing the game. So I'm seeing you, like there's a lot of really assertive and sometimes aggressive people in the workplace that want things the way they want. And they're not always wrong either, but they go about it in not always the best way. So I would, over the next couple months, don't take anything personally, but here's the trick. You need to accept that you can manipulate and you should manipulate or you will be manipulated. Manipulation is just part of the terms and conditions of incarnation. We do it with our bodies, our minds, our words all the time. And it's not bad. It's just the dance of consciousness in localized points of views of different bodies and minds. So enjoy it, I would say, but I don't know if it's the best place for you, like long term. Actually, this might say after a couple months, things kind of relax and get better. I'm going to do 2 more, and then I'm going to do some teaching stuff, and then I'm going to do more readings at the end. So Confessed asks, should I write a book as I'm feeling I should? I would say if you're feeling you should, Confessed, you definitely should write a book. 10 of Wands is saying, it's saying one of 2 things. Either you might not have the time, energy, resources to fully commit to writing a book right now, or you may need to change that, or the book that you want to write might be you might feel pressured or too responsible for the content, or there's a weight. So make sure you're writing it from you and not from what your ego thinks it should be or what society thinks it should be. Or I would disconnect the book from whatever context it's living in now, and really honor what it really is. And then I'll do like one or two more readings, and then we'll go into some teaching stuff. Vibrate Gold says, "Hey Joe, I got a bit confused with princesses or pages. What would be your best insight into that? Get on the theme. Should I move from UK to Dubai? Would it work out for me? Born Lithuanian here." Okay, Vibrate. Let me answer your tarot question, your move question, and then we'll go into the tarot stuff. Should he move from the UK to Dubai? All right. Yes, Magus card is big. Yes, new opportunities, lots of new opportunities, lots of doors in the corridor of life that will open up into various dungeons and boss fights, but all good, all fun in the RPG life. Really good idea. And then pages and princesses. I'm gonna explain that when I get into the mini lecture thing. Okay, cool. So let's go into, if I forget the princesses and pages, just remind me, but I don't think I will. So what I'm going to be teaching today is a little bit about the 4 elements. We all know the 4 elements, right? Elements of astral birth. Wait, what is it? Air, fire, water, earth, elements of astral birth. Remix, yeah. Paganism in the 90s, remember? Scott Cunningham. Okay. Anyway, so the 4 elements, I'm going to talk about them really briefly, and then I'm going to stretch them out into what they really mean and how they can really revivify your tarot practice through the lens of mysticism and direct experience. I am all about direct experience these days. My past course or two, I've just there's so much in the world of tarot and the occult and esoterica and spirituality that is in the realm of idea. It's like, look at this cool idea. Look at this cool fancy thing. And in this time period, they were messing with this and drawing these sigils and playing with these gods and goddesses and doing these divine names. And it's all cool. But if it doesn't go into your direct experience, it's like, I'm not going to say it's pointless, but when it goes into your direct experience, it's a whole nother level. So whether that's actively using the tarot cards or actively engaging with your body, mind, soul, spirit, and how that is expressed through the elements, that's a whole nother level. And that's really the direction I'm going in. And I'm bringing a lot of you guys with me this year, 2023-24 master curriculum. I'm so excited. So we know the 4 elements are, and I'm going to get to the princesses and the pages because they're connected to Earth, and I'm going to show you why they are considered ignorant or why they lack this divine knowledge. Again, sometimes tarot and mysticism and the spiritual stuff, religion, it seems it does have these lingering traces of outmoded misogyny. It totally does. And sometimes mysticism and spirituality caters to the male gaze, right? But the reason I'm going to get into why that has happened, and anyway, that's a whole nother conversation. But the divine ignorance of the princesses and the pages, the naivety, is very important. We're going to get to that in a second. And it's because of their connections to Earth. So we have our 4 elements, and we have fire, water, air, and earth. And we know that fire is our element of, put it in the chat, creativity, desire, raw desire, inspiration, goals, and sometimes our career. We know water is our emotions, our connections with people. And why is that? Because water reflects, water takes the shape of its container. So we, as all containers of energy, as a diverse universe, becoming itself through various containers of itself, that is all the relationships that exist in the universe. That's the suit of water, that's cups. And then we have air, which is the suit of the mind, the element of the mind, the intellect, and the sword is the divisive tool. It separates. And the intellect, but more specifically thoughts, they separate, they divide, they create concepts that are very sharp, and it creates a whole matrix of meaning over what is actually much more fluid, the water of the universe, the life blood, life breath, water, that through which is animating us right now, that is divided by the concepts and the names. I am Joe, this is YouTube, of the suit of swords and the element of air. And it is through the division of name, form, and function, I'm pulling in some non-duality, some Advaita Vedanta here, through the name, form, and function that is applied by the suit of air in the mind, that is how matter exists, right? Because this computer, this device, this YouTube doesn't exist until the mind says, oh, it's YouTube, it's a YouTube live, it's a crazy mystic talking craziness, like whatever labels and ideas come through, that's what renders the physical world, okay? So are we good on our 4 elements? Yeah. And when you know that to be the 4 elements and you explore the 10 numbers of the tarot, it takes on a much deeper meaning. We're still in the beginning. I'm going to stretch this. We're going to stretch this into like the mystical peak. It's going to be really fun. So these 4 elements can be used in I'm going to talk about them in 2 scales. So the scale that I just talked about was the terrestrial, colloquial, mundane use of the elements of what is showing up in my life. What do I need to know about career, work? What do I need to know about love, relationship? What do I need to know about my suffering, my experience, myself, my society? What do I need to know about money and my health? Related to a lot of the questions that showed up in the past like 15, 20 minutes or so, or half hour. However, these elements also show us 4 worlds of being and the entire universe. They show us 4 worlds. They show us 4 parts of the soul. They show us 4 major planes that we can, in our own direct experience, explore and realize. And if we choose to do that, which I really am so excited to do with a lot of you in the 2023-2024 master curriculum, if we, especially in Mysticism for Misfits, when we choose to do that, what we begin to do is we remove our identity from the body and our money and our stuff in the physical world. And then we arrive at our concept of ourselves and our mind. And then if we choose to go even higher than that, we start to remove our identity from our mind, our ego, the idea of who we are, our social standing, all these abstracts. We move away from that. We arrive at ourselves as a container of pure energy, consciousness, life, fluid, however you want to say, life, breath, ruach, whatever you want to say. So prana, maybe. So when we recognize ourselves as a container of that energy, which is constantly flowing, things get more fun, things get more juicy, kind of literally, but not really. Things get more like jazz, you know, we recognize ourselves as units of participation in the universe, and then none of this shit really matters anymore, kind of. And then when we go even further, when we remove our identification from this ourselves as a container of consciousness, energy, life, blood, whatever symbol you want to use, then what happens next, I can't even tell you. But it, like, not because I don't want to, because I would just sound silly, but it's really the realm of paradox, where, to put it in words, it's the direct knowledge of what you are, as opposed to who you are. This is who you are. This is who you are. This is kind of going into what you are. And this is actually what you are. And there's a lot of ways people have described this. Like Advaita Vedanta says Brahman, existence, consciousness, bliss. But you know, the Madhyamaka tradition of Buddhism would say nothingness. And that is echoed in other forms of negative theology. And Meister Eckhart shares that, and there's some other things. But this is the absolute. So this is the ladder that goes from matter to the divine. The gag is that as much as mystics or occultists or magicians or tarot creators or crazy YouTubers want to analyze this reality into these separate things, there's actually no difference. And in the Corpus Hermeticum, I'm not talking about the Kabbalion. I'm talking about the real Hermetica, right? Not that the Kabbalion's not the real Hermetica, but I'm talking about the real Corpus Hermeticum. In the Corpus Hermeticum, in book 17 of John Everard's tradition, and in book 14 of the Copenhaver, I think that's his name, the more academic translation. In book 14, there's a moment when Hermes Trismegistus, OG, big HG, Hermes Trismegistus says to, I think it's Asclepius, he says, ultimately, the maker, God, the universe, source, this mystery, the ultimate realm of fire, the world of emanation, Absolute, the key of the light, the source. There, ultimately, he says that the maker cannot be separated from the made, cannot be separated. This is non-duality. This is monism. This is absolutism. This is whatever you want to call it. But it directly, it almost in the same words, echoes the philosophy of Plotinus, echoes the Upanishads, echoes Parmenides, echoes all the great mystics and sages, and it's just so freaking cool. We're going to get practical. I'm actually going to maybe teach you a meditation today if we have time. Maybe, I don't know, maybe I should do another live to teach the meditation. We'll see. But yeah, so the elements then, I'm not talking anymore about the terrestrial elements, right? These 4 elements still exist in the earth as at least symbols or concepts of our experience in physical matter, okay? But when you stretch them into more of an ontological or existential scope, they represent planes and worlds through which all things come to be. Kabbalistically, this is Asaya, the world of action, Yetzirah, the world of formation, Bria, the world of creation, and Atziluth, the world of emanation. There are also 4 parts of the soul, the Nefesh, the Ruach, the Neshama, and the Kia. But my reason for sharing this with all of you is because when we ask a question of tarot, when most people ask a question about tarot, we ask it in here or in here. This is a question of when will I find love, or what will happen in the future? Like, this is the question of the physical reality, the Newtonian universe. What will cause what to happen in my experience? And it's a very great question to ask. I've been answering these questions for over 2 decades. It's a very classic tarot reading. And this is the realm of the princesses and the pages, by the way. And the princess and the pages ask there's a similar mode of thinking of what will happen, what will cause what to happen, kind of. Does that make sense? Like, what will show up in my world, in the billiard balls of this world? What will affect me? It's a good question to ask. This, the Ace of Swords, the element of air, is when we ask more like internal things. Kind of like what do I need to know, but more so like somebody asked today a question of when will my like discomfort end, and how can I navigate it? How can I navigate it is in the element of air. How can I, ego, self, air, navigate the situation? Great question. Another great. All these questions, by the way, are valid. I'm just showing you where they operate in the 4 planes so that you can not only work with them more accurately in divination, but you can take more control over them. So questions like that are me, idea, concept, and yeah, this has become more popular over the past couple decades in tarot. Tarot has gotten more friendly with like personal development and psychology and research. I've taught a number of therapists and psychologists that are experimenting with tarot in their practice, which is so cool. This is that's air, okay? And then when we move it up to water, what we're looking at is, how can I explain this one? If this is what's going to happen, And this is what is happening within me, like in my inner subjective localized consciousness world, whether that's my desires, my thoughts, fears. This is like personal knowledge. This is personal self-knowledge. This water is the pivot point between the personal, subjective knowledge and goings on of your mind and how that brings about your physical world. This is the pivot point between that and the absolute. And this pivot point is really freaking cool. It's the place where you realize where there's a part of you that is not your ego and is not your localized self that looks upon your localized self. By localized self, I mean your thoughts, I mean your desires, I mean your fears, what's going on in here, what you're experiencing in relationship to what's physically around you, okay? There's a part of you in the world of Bria, in this second world, in the element of water, that recognizes that all that you experience in the suit of swords, in air, in your ego, in your mind, is a lower reflection water of something else. And when that part of you notices that, all of this, all the overthinking, all the self-doubt, all the scripts from the past, all the karma, all the whatever, becomes so delightfully muffled. It's like you're on the, it's imagine like this. You're on the top of a lake, right? And it's raining. The rain is hitting the lake and it's really loud. And the rain is your thoughts. The rain is your thoughts, okay? Going into the element of water, going into Kabbalists might say the world of Bria, or the Neshama, part of the soul, or I just call it number 2, the dyad. Going into the dyad, going into what Plotinus might call the nous, maybe. Approaching this, all of the thoughts, all of the karmic stuff, it's like sinking under the lake. So you're on top of the lake, the rain, the thoughts are pounding down on the lake. It's all this chaos. And then you start to submerge under the lake, and all that noise starts to get muffled and lessens as you go further under the lake. Because what you're doing is you are removing your identity from your thoughts, from your desires, from your fears, from your attachments. And all of those things are recognized just like physical matter and sensations as things that arise and go, right? Impermanence, Buddhism. And when you're here, this is what has been symbolized as the divine marriage or the hermetic marriage. Not all the time, but one of the interpretations of the sacred marriage, of the alchemical wedding, is the marriage between that container, cup, water, the container of all your thoughts, feelings, emotions, sensations, all things that are done, made, different, or changeable, the container, and that which transcends the container, which is this. That which transcends the container, Shiva. That which is the container, Shakti. That which transcends the container, Nirvana. That which is the container, Samsara. That which transcends the container is the Ein Sof of the Kabbalah. That which is the container, Keter and the Tree of Life. All traditions. This is a divine marriage. So, yeah. To give you a visual of this, my favorite visual that I use, that I teach from, is the Tetractys. So the link there's a link in the, well, let me pull this up. So here's the Tetractys right here. There's a link in the description of this live that will allow you to download this for free. This is a small section of the full ebook that tarot and astrology students are getting for the 2023-2024 curriculum. But yeah, the Tetractys, 1, 2, 3, and 4. The 4 elements stretch over the entire cosmos. It's an ontological level of the 4 elements. The 4 is earth, the 3 is air, the 2 is water, the 1 is fire. The 4 is nature in the Platonic system. In the Plotinus system, this is nature, this is soul, this is the nous, this is the 1. In Kabbalah, this would be, the 4 would be Asaya, the 3 would be Yetzirah, the 2 would be Bria, the 1 would be Atziluth. It's in all traditions. And the cool thing is, it's you. It's literally you. This is not, see, the thing with this stuff is it's not out there. I'm not telling you to summon a demon or like summon an angel or do like however many Hail Marys and like there is no bridge. It's just what reality is, like directly here. And when you experience it directly, you don't need any book, you don't need any crazy YouTuber, you don't need like anything because it's just there, you know? Anyway, that's what I think is so cool about this stuff. And that's the way I'll be approaching the courses ahead. So I'm gonna do one more plug on that, or maybe 5 more plugs, I don't know. The 2023-2024 Tarot Mysticism curriculum, the master curriculum is starting in a week. We filled up spots last week. We didn't have any more spots for level 1 Tarot Divination course. I opened up more spots. This is because I am not teaching I'm not teaching Tarot Divination course again after this. I don't know if I'm teaching the other courses again. This might be the last time I teach all the courses. This might be just the last time I teach level 1, but I'm not going to teach this curriculum as it is again. So because of that, I'm opening up more spots. So it might be the last chance to work with me on all the courses listed: Tarot Divination course, Esoteric Tarot, Tarot and Astrology, Mysticism for Misfits, and Thoth Tarot Mastery and Thoth Tarot Mysticism. So I definitely apply if you're feeling called to do it, because by this time next year, I don't even know where I'll be. I might be in India. I might be teaching something else. I don't think I'm going to be teaching Tarot Divination course. I know I'm not going to be teaching Tarot Divination course again because my heart is in this. I want people to recognize their infinitude, end suffering, heal their shit, and, you know, have fun. Oh my God. I can't express how much this stuff has like literally saved my life and has transformed the lives of so many of my students, my family. It's amazing stuff. So that's the direction we're going in for the year. I'm so freaking excited. This past several weeks has been amazing, enrolling so many students. Y'all are going to have so much fun. There are so many smart people coming into TMA, and well, we always have fun. It's always so great. Thank you, Julie. But yeah, TMA is the best. Hey, Bruno. Okay, so does anyone have any questions on what I just taught? I know that was like a lot, but the thing is, if you understand what I just taught about the 4 levels of reality, whether that's the 4 worlds, you'll see it everywhere. You'll see it in Plotinus's Great Chain of Being. You'll see it in the Upanishads. You'll see it all over in the occult literature, all throughout Golden Dawn, but it's expressed in more elaborately with different symbols. But that's like it ultimately. And you can break it down with number. It all comes down to 1, 2, 3, and 4. This is ineffable. This we can speak about, and the bridge between the two. So I want to actually answer. Somebody asked me about the princesses in the pages of the tarot. I'm assuming. So let's go back to that, and then we will do maybe some more readings. I think we'll talk about princesses pages, then we'll do some more readings, answer questions, and then maybe wrap up. Okay. So whoever asked about princesses and pages, I hope you're still here. The princesses in the pages are the most important court card of the court card system. Let me find one for you. Let me find the Princess of Discs for you. I'm just going to talk about it. So princesses and pages are, take what I just taught you, which you now know, the universe, world, reality. You have this kind of ontological framework of 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4. The ineffable unity, the dyad, the triad, which is so the ineffable unity is that which we can't speak of. The dyad is the element of water, reflection, us as the container of universal consciousness, energy, life, breath, whatever you want to say it. 3 is the mind, which conceptualizes the container and makes it into meaning. That's 3. And then 4 is that meaning, interpreting, projecting the material world that renders the actual material world. So knowing that, these are also the 4 court cards, Yod He Vav He, the divine name, the Holy Tetragrammaton, which is unpronounceable, but I like to pronounce it like Vicar, Vicar, what? And the reason why I like to pronounce it like that is because it is the remix of the universe that manifests. Literally, the nothingness of God, reality, the absolute, manifests through Vicar, Vicar, what? Remix. And that remix is the record scratch of duality. More on that later. But the princesses and the pages of the tarot exist in this bottom row. And they exist in this bottom row because, and I'm not trying to open up a whole political can of worms here, but I do not want to have this conversation about gender with you guys right now, but gender is an invention. Just deal with it. Gender is an invention. It's a projection. It's a mind thing. However, biological sex, women give birth. So women, not women, biological females give birth. And so historically, biological females have an association with matter and form, whereas the divine masculine is associated with the transcendent and spirit, because the male participation in procreation was more invisible to older cultures. And so that the invisibility of that participation became associated with that which is transcendent and invisible. Okay, that's all I'm going to say about that. But that's why the princesses are here and the queens are here. So like, why does the king come first? Why does the knight come first? Why is God masculine up the top and feminine is at the bottom? That's one way we can. I'm not saying it's the way. You can throw it away. We can do active and passive. We can destroy gender. We can remix it. But that is why so many gender symbols have arose in the occult and mysticism. Plain and simple, because we have to use our own experience, remember, our own experience to understand this stuff. Okay, so the princesses and pages are down here, and their divine ignorance or naivete in the tarot is because they are enmeshed in matter. And being enmeshed in matter, they have identified with aspects of, the material world and have forgotten the divine above. However, just like Eve, people consider, Eve got the apple and some people caused the fall or whatever. Arthur Edward Wade actually says this beautifully in his pictorial key to the tarot. He says how Eve is the necessary fall for like the continuation of divinity. So how Eve is actually more integral than Adam in the whole creative process. Because if Eve didn't do her thing, we wouldn't be like looking all fresh like this. We wouldn't have clothes on and have civilization and have all the fun that we're having, right? The universe experiencing itself. So, so it is through the princess and the page, through their ignorance, through their divine ignorance of their origin, that the whole process can take place. What is the whole process? Mystical ascent, essentially, going back into the one. Redintegration, as Aleister Crowley says. The whole process of one recognizing its divinity, coming back up here. And then when we go up here, when we're in absolute Brahman, total reality, we can choose to come back down again. And we keep doing it because it's freaking fun. Oh my goodness. Okay. I hope that answered your question about the princesses and the pages. Another way to look at it is the princess and the page is the full container of everything above it, containing all the processes, Okay, any questions on that? I'm just going to ask if anyone has any questions on that to put it in the chat again, because I'm not going to scroll back too much. Vibrate Gold says, when I get the wands, should I go up for more info or bring it down? With, I can tie to the knowledge I already have. I'm not sure about that. The elements I just taught you are not like, it goes beyond tarot reading. Like it's how things show up. So when you're doing a tarot reading, I'm going to explain this in the context of doing a tarot reading, okay? So when you're doing a tarot reading, you're pulling physical cards, which are down here. Those physical cards can only be said to exist with all their meaning because of the mind, which interprets them and renders their reality by observing them. That mind, with its meaning making, can only exist because of the dyad, the sacred marriage between subject and object. This is the nous of Plotinus, what Plotinus calls the intellect. That sacred marriage, when canceled out, is the unitive, that's samadhi in yoga, the absolute realization. So when you're doing a tarot reading, it involves all of these. Most tarot readings are here and here. Going up here, and this is actually what I teach in my courses. Tarot divination course, starting in a week, is going to teach this and this. How do you read the cards? How do you confidently do it for yourself and others? Reading the cards for somebody else, reading it for somebody else is down here. Usually reading it for yourself is here. When I move into the esoteric tarot and the tarot and astrology course, we're going to be focused on here and a little bit of here. So this is mental, the working of the tarot mentally in the inner world, which trumps the external world, and a little bit here, which is the creative world, which is the intellect, the subject-object relationship, the divine marriage area. When I teach mysticism for misfits, we're going to be doing this and a little bit of this, potentially. This I can't teach, really. This I can only offer tools and sources and practices to support being here, and then this just pops in sometimes. So whether that's Zen Satori or Shaktipat, or the different traditions have different names for it. It's like, for me, I just find sometimes it just clicks, and it's the most profound thing ever. It makes tarot reading look like finger painting. It's like totally, yeah. I'm not saying that I don't mean that in a condescending way. I still read tarot. I have a whole school for it. I love it. It's the beauty of this is when you get up here, this takes on a whole nother meaning. When you get up here, it takes your tarot practice and it lifts it up into, I can't really describe it, but it's like, it just elevates it into a whole nother way. Like when you do that, you get to really see the perfection of your client or your questioner and the perfection of you working in harmony with whatever shows up. And then it really becomes jazz. And then that's the place where you can say, no matter what happened, you can say, I'm really enjoying the movie. Like, oh, wow, what's going to happen next? Yeah. Okay. Do you have problems with students not speak Spanish? I speak Spanish, but I'm more interested. I've had students that did not speak English in my courses before, and what they did was they used live translators to translate as I was teaching. What I can say is most courses I teach come with a pre-recorded version so that you can take the recording and translate that as slow as you want and rewatch that. Okay, Barbara, think I get the eternity symbol on the magician card now. Maker and made is the same, as above, so below. Very cool, thanks to Joe. Yes, Barbara, so the magician card, the eternity symbol, the lemniscate, and the Ouroboros, the snake eating its own tail, like as his belt. This is this. It's the ability of the universe to recognize itself. It's the coolest place to be. It's my favorite part of this whole system because it's both a paradox and an undeniable reality. Because in any experience, there will always be the experience and that experiencing it, right? But when you really look, the separation is never clear. You can never find the actual beginning and ending of either of them. That's the zone of the magician. The magician is like the thesis. That's like the thesis of my Mysticism for Misfits program. But there's practical things for that too, because when you can take that and through specific meditative practices and somatic exercises, you can bring that knowledge into your daily life and start getting paid more, getting laid more, being less afraid. You know, like that's another whole area of fun. It's like, what do we actually do with this? Like, right. Trauma and drama is delicious, Julie said. It really is. And I'm sorry if I offend some people. I'm not trying to minimize your experience, but no matter what happens to you, trauma, drama, catastrophe, and of course I can say this easily because I'm currently safe in a safe home. I have enough food to eat, but it's like the observer does not change. No matter what you think you're going through, the silent witness does not change. The movie is the movie. The watcher of the movie is the watcher and is just there. And that watcher is bliss. It's just reality. And so there is a subtle enjoyment of what shows up, good or bad. Barbara says, on your courses, do you Zoom around this time of day? So the times of the courses are scheduled to be 6 p.m. Eastern time, which is 6 hours from this current time now. But there are recordings of all courses. So whatever you sign up for, you will have lifetime access to those recordings. And on top of that, there are additional practice sessions that are scheduled earlier, like at this time. I've got to ask everyone and see if everyone's open to changing it to an earlier time. Maybe that could be cool. Drama is the opportunity to grow. Yes, totally. And also, yeah, exactly. It's that's the other side of it, is the trauma, and the drama is what propels us to undo the trauma and the drama if we choose. Broke a depressive episode early by sitting with it and not fighting it. Oh my God, Julie said that is the most important thing. When you have whatever the obstacle is, depression, anxiety, whatever, when you can recognize it and then get over it yourself, that is the work. That is the work. And listen, I have so many friends that are occultists and philosophers and mystics, all this stuff, but like, I don't see enough of that in the spiritual and the occult world. That actual moment of, I got through this. I did it myself. I used these tools. I know how to do it. I can do it again. And then you do it again. And then every depressive episode or whatever your obstacle is, it gets smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller as you go. It's kind of like grief. It can still come, but a little bit less, a little bit less. It's like a lot of people come to me and they want to learn the secrets of the occult and Agrippa and all this really cool stuff. But it's like, I don't find value in that unless we can first get over these personal things and do it and continue that and do it more and more, until we can have amazing relationships, until we are financially stable, until we are happy with our life. Like traditionally Kabbalah wasn't taught until you were a 40-year-old man with your family with all your shit in order. That's because how are you supposed to count the nose hairs of God? As DK says, how are you supposed to study the math of God if you don't even have your microcosmic individual shit in order? But the cool thing is that's what I'm most excited about Mysticism for Misfits, is because it takes this and it takes it from this weird, mysterious, Freemasonic, secret, like occult, Illuminati, whatever people think it is, and it brings it into your direct experience that you can use to live with more peace and more happiness and help other people as well, That's my favorite part about it. The transformations happen. They really do. But yeah, if anyone's interested in that kind of thing, Mysticism for Misfits is happening in January. It's part of the 2023-2024 master curriculum. I'm so freaking excited. It's going to be so fun. I'm going to be taking out my biggest weapons of personal development, healing, energy work, and mystical philosophy. And we're going to put all that on steroids, and it's going to be wild. Yeah, it's so freaking cool. Okay, so if there's any questions on anything I've gone through, we'll start doing I'll do some more readings and then we'll close up. But what my last plug is about a week from tomorrow starts the 2023-2024 curriculum of Tower Mysticism Academy. There's 5 live courses, 2 pre-recorded courses, and it will be the last time I do Tarot Divination course and maybe some of the other ones. So there's more spots I've opened up if anyone wants to join. But this is it. After this, I'm going to be doing something else. I don't know. I might be in India. Who knows? But yeah. Okay. So to find information on that, you can go to tarotmysticismacademy.com or shoot me an email. I'm just going to put it in the chat real quick, and then we will go to some readings. I just put the link in the chat. That will explain the details of the curriculum. To enroll, you apply. The application is one interview with me. The interview is structured for your benefit. So if you interview and you don't enroll, the interview is incredibly valuable to you either way. Okay, so let's do some readings. We'll kind of ground it out. I know we went into mystical madness pretty strong. Thank you all for sticking with me and following me that far. It was really fun. Oh, thank you so much. Okay, Una, thank you. Thank you, Joe, for sharing what you do. What do I need to know at this point in time regarding my priorities? Ooh, I love that question. Okay. Regarding your priorities. Okay, so your priorities have recently changed dramatically, or they're about to change dramatically, and it looks like part of you is saying, I don't have my priorities in order. That's because they're in a different order. So I would say trust in the inspiration that's coming forth. And if it's excitement, say yes to it and take an action. One action, see what happens. If you take one action and it's not supposed to be what's supposed to happen, you'll feel it pretty soon. But Knight of Wands as priorities could be travel, could be new creative pursuits, could be, if you're single, it could be dating or but more like one night stands, which is totally fine. It could be, yeah, starting something new, but having the impulse to do it, having the nerve to do it. Ollie says, hi, Joe, greetings from Poland. Hey, Ollie, I was thinking about starting an art business. Should I give it a try or should I just look for a regular job? Okay, great question. Okay, so... Okay, I'm going to tell you what I see. I'm seeing you look for a regular job and not finding a regular job. And in so doing, it kind of forces you to make art a little bit. Like the art just happens. And then there's success with that. Okay, I'm going to say, Ollie, for the next month or two, I'd be very judicial with your finances. I feel like you're going on a journey, like we're going on this aesthetic journey of the hermit, and in some way, this process is really important for your art. In about a month or so, I'm seeing the Prince of Wands and the Prince of Discs. So I'm actually seeing you doing both. In about a month, I see you in a stable job that works for you, that allows you the freedom to really get your projects going and out there. But the initial stage of your artistic process is like, I kind of see a little bit of a starving artist moment for you, but I don't know, it's not bad. It actually, whatever happens in this period, it's going to help you make the best art. And then when you have the job and then you have less time, that's going to be the business side of it. That's going to be actual production or sales or marketing or all of that. I'm so happy to have caught this up. Yay, me too, Heidi. Hi, Joe. Can I get a love reading, please? Thank you. Yes, definitely. Stephanie McQueen. All right, Stephanie McQueen. Let's look into your love life. Okay, so this is like a bad taste in your mouth from a previous relationship that's either lingering or is resurfacing. So I don't know. I actually don't get it. It's maybe not a good time. I'm not saying don't do it. I'm saying it's showing me there's really juicy stuff going on outside of the arena for love for you, and I don't want you to miss it. And if you push for love right now, you may miss what else is going on. That could be career, that could be inner work, that could be, I don't know, just time with yourself. But I feel like part of you with the Eight of Cups is saying part of you is not expecting love to show up, and not like it's just not in your, yeah, I don't know, work and something else. I'm not saying never, but that's what the cards say. Of course, you could disregard all of that. You know what it is? I think love for you is not going to, like what love for you is now in your mind, love is going to be bigger than that. So if you go out and look and take an effort in finding love of the way you're conceptualizing it, your higher self is going to be like, no, we are shooting bigger. Just wait a minute, let it formulate, let it load. It's like a big file that you're loading and it's not loading yet. So don't go to the small file yet. I don't know, weird metaphor. Hi, Joe, hope all's well. What does Spirit advise for me to make the most during my Saturn return? Ooh, Chelsea, I love that question. I love Saturn. Saturn's the best. By the way, if you guys were here during the lecture on the elements and the numbers, Saturn is kind of here a little bit. And so when you see like occultists posting about Saturn and memes about Saturn, it's here. It's related to the Ouroboros a little bit. So the Saturn, messes us up a little bit in the best way. Wait, let me go back. Hope all is well. What does Saturn have to say during my Saturn return? Okay. So Saturn comes in and takes away what doesn't serve us, but always, that's not always easy. So for your Saturn return, it's, oh, this is good. Okay, so this is I'm just going to tell it to you, and take what resonates. Just take what resonates. The best way you can maximize your Saturn return is to recognize the parts of you that are similar to your family. That's what I'm getting. I'm sorry. I don't know. I hope that didn't trigger anyone, but and in so doing, on the larger scale of that, is recognizing the parts of you that are similar to everyone. So it's the cheat code of compassion, right? So compassion is the cheat code of recognizing we're all on the same plane. It's very useful, especially if anyone here, like I still do sometimes, but I used to really compare myself to other people a lot. A great way to stop doing that and stop judging yourself and juxtaposing yourself to other people is compassion, actually. It's because it's the recognition of sameness. So that in itself is a whole alchemical process. I hope you guys don't think I'm being harsh in these readings. I'm just saying what's coming through. I don't know, maybe the Thoth deck today is feeling really fiery. I don't know, it's summer. What actions do I need to take to get my animal Reiki practice to take off? Also, should I believe what my twin is telling me? Sorry, I have to go. No, it's fine. I love that. This is really fun. Okay, so animal Reiki practice. What do you need to know? What do you need to take? Okay. Okay, so the Four of Discs is repetition, and a strong infrastructure or system. It's a system. So the Four of Discs is it's stability, but stability through systemization, not necessarily structure. So it's not like you need to have, well, I mean, it could be. The Four of Discs could also be reaching out to a local business and maybe, I don't know, like a PetSmart, or maybe not a PetSmart, maybe like a local groomer, and seeing if there's a collaborative possibility. Because the Four of Discs here could be another business that's already successful that you go into, and, either that or repetition. Marketing is all about repetition. I would also say, obviously, I'm going to plug, I do something called the Professional Readers Mastermind, where I teach people how to become professional tarot readers and run a spiritual business lucratively and ethically. So it may be a fit for you. I don't know. But if you want to check that out, go to Tarot actually email me, because it's not just easily accessible on the website. It's kind of an invite-only thing, but email me anyway. And also, what should you believe my twin flame is telling me? Okay. Should you believe what your twin flame is telling you? I would. I would. Yeah, I would trust her. Trust them. Una, thanks for the reading. Gave me something to think about. Totally. Ali, thank you. Yay. Lil Alpaca, Joe, are the signs I'm getting for real? Are the guides and past ones talking to me? Are they warning me or supporting me? Well, could it be both? Let me get a sense. Let me pull a card for you, Alpaca. I would say they are supporting you. Two of Swords, there's really nothing to be afraid of. In my opinion, whenever we get signs, it's always to support us, but there's never, even if it's a warning and we don't heed the warning and we mess up a little bit, it's still a benefit because the mess up is a detour. We're going to get back on track one way or another, right? Okay, every atom is where it is right now to make what's happening. So everything that is happening is okay. I know that's like such a stretch, and I wouldn't be able to say that amidst certain catastrophes of the world, but ultimately, everything's where it needs to be for what's happening right now. And in 5 minutes, everything is going to be exactly where it needs to be for what's going to be happening. So I would trust that they're supporting you to keep moving forward with trust in yourself. And whatever catastrophe or change they may be warning you about, it will benefit you through the short way or the long way. Both of them will be a benefit. If you want to take the short way, listen to the signs, trust in your body. Let go of everyone else's BS on what you should do or shouldn't do. Trust in your intuition, but if you're not comfortable with your intuition, go into your body and see what the body says. Heavy is a no, light is a yes. Victoria, hello. How can I expand my purpose more into my everyday? Great question. The Five of Wands. Okay. This could be a sort of mediation. It can be physical activity. It could be sports. It could be running. It could be something muscular, going to the gym. It could be resolving issues between people. It could be the big message for you is whenever the friction shows up, be with it and enjoy it. So whether that's friction between you and somebody else or inner friction too, between difficult decisions that are made, whenever the friction shows up, be with it and enjoy it and work with it. I just lost my place again. Miss Kitty is asking, is there a right or wrong way to read tarot? I noticed some people don't read reverse cards. Is there much difference in reading? Thanks, Nikki. You don't have to read reverse card. There's not a there's not a right or wrong way to read tarot at all. You could literally do whatever the hell you want, whenever the hell you want to do it. That's the ultimate truth. I don't care what anybody says. Do what you want. Okay? That's number one. Number two is there are methods and systems that have been proven to work for people for hundreds of years. And I'm not even going to say thousands of years like this is some ancient thing that comes from ancient Egypt, because it doesn't necessarily, it might not be that. But at least for the past 300-400 years, systems it has grown in its sophistication. So with that, it's kind of like you can take tarot like you can take music. You might not know any music theory. You might not know how to play the piano at all. You could go to the piano and just bang on it. And you could still say it's music. It's somewhat organized sound. And it may be interesting. It may not. Bang on the keys, whatever. Or you can take years of study where you study music theory, you learn classical music, maybe you learn jazz. There's all types of genres of music. And then integrate that in your piano playing. And the sound that you make will get more organized, more complex. Your technique will increase, the theoretical aspects will increase, and you will produce better music. So a lot of people ask me they say, like, because I teach a lot of esoteric tarot, so I teach a lot of Kabbalah, and people say, well, Thoth tarot, Kabbalah, it's so complicated. Why do you need all that stuff anyway? And the answer is you don't. But if you want to play beautiful classical music, if you want to play some Mozart and Beethoven, you're going to need some practice. You're going to need some stuff under your belt. And so in my view, like, learning certain techniques and systems helps that. Now, reversals, for example, are one of those techniques that for some people help and for some people don't. In the Thoth deck specifically, it's not intended to be used with reversals. Doesn't mean you can't, it's just not intended to. Rider-Waite-Smith is a little bit more intended to be used with reversals, and so you can do that. I don't really use reversals because I use other things that I find to be more effective, and for me, in my opinion, I find reversals not as interesting or like sophisticated as some other things, but also I'm a lazy bitch maybe. So there was totally a moment when I was growing up and I was reading the books on tarot and I was like, I have to memorize 78 cards and 78 reversals. Screw that. And I made a decision not to study the reversals. I did later on study the reversals and incorporated them for a while, but yeah. Okay. Son of Sun. Hi, Joe. Does pursuing a career at this time look good for me in pursuing? This card is saying wait a little bit. Why do we want to wait, though? That's my question. This card is saying, both these cards are saying, wait. I think in the next like couple weeks, you will notice some change in your finances or maybe even in your home situation, or something that you are working on or something that you invested in will have some return over the next couple weeks, whether that's monetary or maybe even in relationships. I don't know. Maybe a friend comes in the next couple weeks, gives you a big gift or gives you a big opportunity. So I would wait like a week or two, because something's formulating. And then after a couple weeks, you'll know like, yes, this is the sign. Alex says, hey, Joe, would you tell me what my focus should be now? Thank you. Your focus should be love, but love, broad sense. Love everything you possibly can. This would also be, spiritually, this would be the path of bhakti or devotion. So whoever that is, if that's Jesus, if that's God, if that's Kali, if that's Isis and Osiris, like whatever it is, get your gods and goddesses in order and show them some love. Show your ancestors some love. Show your enemies some love. And recognize that you are, this goes into my lecture. This goes into the noose area. Recognize that you are a container of the universe just as everybody else is. And that's all there is to it. Bruno says, Joe, just want to let you know regarding our last reading, everything we talked and you read in the cards was 100% spot on. Oh, thanks so much, Bruno. Bruno, you're amazing. I'm so excited to be working with you this year. This is going to be so fun. Anastasia, I don't know about anyone else, but I would rather have the messages from the cards come direct instead of sugar-coated, harsh or not. Oh, yeah, it is what it is. It's still all love. Yeah, thank you, Anastasia. Yeah, I agree too. Like, I have a lot of Pisces. I have a moon in Pisces right on my ascendant. I am a softie. So a lot of my readings have been sugar-coated, but I don't know. I'm older now, post-Saturn return, you know, I don't sugarcoat as much. Heidi says, what can I do to make my marriage better? That's a great question. Heidi, very smart question. Notice how Heidi is asking a question that precipitates action. What can I do? See, see, when you say what, I want to go back to this again. When you ask, what can you do? Here is the place of what will happen. Here's the place of what can I do? Because it's taking ownership and authority over your own reality. It's a big play. And by the way, 3/4, I'm not going to get into it. We will be here for 5 hours, but just know that 3 and 4, 3 + 4 is 7, 3 × 4 is 12. That's the Hanged Man. Reverse it, you get the universe. It's a whole doctrine. It shows the doctrine of the avatar, of like God incarnation. It's a lot. But anyway, what can you do to make your marriage better? Ooh, Seven of Swords is okay. So Seven of Swords is dividing time and energy more appropriately for you and your partner to better serve your interests and activities that don't always get along. So if you have a partner that like not every situation that the two of you do together will be of benefit to both of you. So just, yeah, time apart, but time apart, not necessarily because you need space, but because literally the things that you're doing or the information that's running through you is better to do alone. Yeah. Can you get me a couple of cards on where Charlie's mind and emotions are at the moment? Okay, Vibrate Gold. Where's Charlie's mind and emotions are at the moment? Let's see. No, yes. He's just kind of, he's on standby right now. He's just letting things be what they are. And I don't think he's looking to make any big changes right now. Or Johan, hey Joe, greetings from Mexico. Can you do a quick reading for Raquel? Her business partners are building to buy some land for a project. Will they get it? Ooh, good question. Will they get it? Oh, I don't think so, but that means there's something better around the corner. Will I have people to become family one day outside my own husband and kids? We both broke hundreds of years of alcoholism and abuse, so are lonely family-wise. Will I have more people, one day outside my own husband and kids? My heart to yours. Yes, it'll take time, but I think Three of Wands is saying that your attitude, your energy, your focus is really in the right place. The path is forming ahead of you. That's the big Three of Wands. This is virtue. This is good stuff. It might, of course, whenever we want something, it never comes in the way that we expect it. So I would just stay in the energy of the underlying love that you have to connect with people on that family level. Focus on that. And the tool is every day, ask, what love can I be? What love can I use to create the family that I choose? What love can I use to create the family that I choose? Mari Stellarium, hello. This year has been very difficult. What lessons am I meant to learn from it all? How do I deal with all of it? Okay, Mari, let's look into that. Okay, the Queen of Discs. The Queen of Discs is, so like an ecosystem, the Queen of Discs is all about an ecosystem. Notice what the Queen of Discs is looking at. She's looking at an oasis. The water is coming through, and it's making this area fertile. Light trees, palm trees, or whatever, are starting to grow. The ecosystem both involves life and death, obviously. Eating, devouring, changing. And so what I'm going to say is what may be so difficult and challenging on one level is on another level harmony, right? So in the body, like cells and stuff constantly being splitting and doing their thing. I don't know how to describe whatever cells do, dying and splitting and being born. And then like we get an infection, and then this whole part of the body is going through this traumatic thing, or we break a bone or whatever it is, and then the trauma is healed over time, and then all the cells run to the area of the trauma, and there's all this swelling and all this chaos, and it's like painful, but all of that is happening to keep the balance of the whole body system. So I'm gonna for you, because I know because we've worked together, and so this is something I wouldn't give to everybody, but in your case, you've been on a spiritual path, And it's easier to say this than to do this, right? So when I'm saying this, it's easier for me to say, and I tell myself this, I've told myself this so many times, but the practice is recognizing that whatever the difficulty is, it's a difficulty for you as an appendage of the real you. So like, if, excuse me, if there's suffering in the body is just an aspect of the real self. If there's suffering in the mind, then the mind is itself a process of that which you really are. Excuse me. So stillness, I'm like talking about this as I'm like, my throat is like, stillness, observation, and be like noticing what's happening in the ecosystem of your body and mind without judgment, being with it, sitting with it, and breathing into the experience. And by doing so, that's the essence of the Queen of Discs, because the Queen of Discs rises above the matter, literally matter, to allow matter its harmony. She is the neshama, the intuition that allows for the ruach and the nefesh, the mind and the body, to work harmoniously. But that intuition, it requires space. And when we go into the place of my body, my mind is doing this, oh my God, that's the sign to remove and just observe. And again, this is like going up here. Going up here, it's like, if there are certain restrictions or challenges that feel like a limitation, accept them as redirects for where you can go or what you can be. So if you feel like stopped or the path ends in some area of your life, say, okay, this is a dead end. I have the awareness that this is a dead end. I can turn around and go in a different direction. And the mind, I'm not saying this stuff is easy. The mind will revolt. Oh my God, the mind revolts all the time. And the mind makes us, it's so difficult to deal with shit, because the mind goes into the place of what's right and wrong, what should and shouldn't be. But ultimately, I'll be honest with you guys, several weeks ago, my grandfather passed away. I was with him for his last hours. And it's like, I want to be more comfortable with that. You know what I mean? Literally completely letting the mind go in death. Ultimately, that's mysticism. It's like looking at somebody passing away and getting intimately knowing this mind is going to dissolve and being okay with that. And when it dissolves, nothing is going to be lost, right? In my opinion, getting to that level of comfort with reality, for me, makes everything else so much easier. So then when whatever shows up, whether it's illness or suffering or whatever, job, love, it's just more comings and goings of energy consciousness. And no energy and no consciousness is ever gained or lost in any of that. I'm talking to you in this way that that's not the answer I would give everyone, but I hope that helps. And again, this stuff is a practice, I'm constantly doing this stuff every day. So, but I don't know, I find the rewards are so good. So limitation as benefit. I guess maybe that could be a sort of mantra. The benefit of limitation. Speaking of Saturn, that's what Saturn is all about. What does Saturn do? Saturn comes and takes what no longer serves us so that we connect with the reality of what we are. And that could be aspects of our personal life. It could be aspects of our transpersonal reality. But it sounds like Saturn is often associated with suffering because it's the perception of loss. I hope that makes sense. And I don't mean to minimize your experience when I talk about these things, but yeah. Much love, Joe. I'm going through something similar, and reading for me helped a lot. Getting there step by step and enjoying each one. Yeah, and it's I would if there was a magic button to all this, I would give it away, but there's really not a magic button to this. And the reason why, when I teach tarot courses and mysticism courses, it's over a year because this stuff takes time. If you saw me 4 years ago, holy Ganesha, you would not recognize me at all. I was a completely different person, or however many years ago. I'm not good with time. Maybe it was more than 4 years ago. Time just goes by so fast. Maybe it was like 5-6 years ago. I don't know. But it wasn't until at least about 4 or 5 years ago that I started to take this stuff seriously and work on it and change my world. It takes time, it's do step by step. But the change, if you take something and do it over time, the change at the end of the long-term process will be way more valuable than doing one thing that's exciting in this moment. And I don't know, it's that's why I'm kind of gearing more towards mysticism right now, because tarot is really great. It's really helpful, and it helps so many people. I've done it for years, but it helps people in the moment. And then a lot of the times, whatever they're asking about or whatever problem they have, it resurfaces. And tarot is not going to change those patterns unless you approach it through its mystical philosophy and work its mystical philosophy, right? And working its mystical philosophy is not a shiny new toy or a shiny new spread or a new tarot deck or a new quantum jump method or whatever. It's just step by step, getting more and more intimate with who you are, and then more and more intimate with what you are. And then things start to happen, both in relative reality and mystically. But yeah. Thank you so much, Joe. I'm crying a bit now. What you said makes so much sense, and I don't feel it is minimizing my experience. The challenge is being able to travel from the overwhelming pain. Okay, so pain is useful, right? When we put our hand on the stove and it hurts, it allows us to take our hand away so we don't lose our hand with an infection or whatever. So Sadhguru talks about this. He talks about the difference between suffering and pain. Pain, he says, is not optional. It's useful, keeps the body together so we don't pull our fingers off and juggle them. And suffering is the interpretation of that pain that is optional. So if there's pain, I would trust, okay, there's pain, be with the pain and observe it and breathe into it and respect it because it's useful. It's telling your body, it's telling you what you need to do with body. And but then the suffering is, okay, pain is stopping me from traveling or doing these things. And so what else is here that I can do that I haven't noticed? Or one way you can phrase that is, what's right about this I'm not seeing? And again, this is another thing that I'm saying it. It's easily said, not easy in practice. And so many times I've wanted something and limitations came up and I couldn't, the frustration, oh my God. But just being with that, trusting the universe of oh, I am meant to be here, or whatever this limitation is. But at the same time, my grandmother was a big faith healer. She was a Christian Scientist, and she did perform healings. And there's something to be said about that, as well. And that faith healing and mind over matter and manifestation, though I think it all works. I don't know how it works. I'm not going to say you can just think your way into whatever physical reality you want. But I think there's definitely something to be said about that. And in my opinion, when we get frustrated or when we interpret limitation in a certain way, it makes more limitation. But when we interpret limitation as freedom, as I redirect, and we say, oh my goodness, the universe is showing me all of this other opportunity, then I find that the limitation recedes. On the tree of life, right? So the tree of life itself, this is a good teaching moment, actually. Where is this? The tree of life itself has force and form. Form is limitation. Saturn is up here. So the limitation comes in to keep this balance, to keep, right? So maybe you're on this swing of the tree of life right now to keep you where the high priestess is. Okay. So with that, I think I'm going to start to close up because we've been on this for a while. Georgina says, how do I block my feeling when I'm trying to read for myself? Julie said, don't block them, Georgina. Ask them what they are trying to tell you, show you. Yeah, I would agree. If you're feeling something, recognize it, and you can like dialogue with it and get information from it, but you can also observe it and let it. What I would recommend, Georgina, is processing the feeling by being with it, just feeling it, and waiting until patiently, there's no rush. Eventually that feeling will potentially dissipate. And when you are in that neutral place, then do the reading. Heidi says, this has been soul filling. Thank you. Deb says, help. I would love to know how to be totally okay with death. I am crying for my mom. I think she is going any day and physically struggle to care for her. I feel no one wants to talk about it. So I can tell you what I have in my own experience, and you know, my experience and ideas are not set in stone. So, you know, take it with a grain of salt. But based on what I've seen and what I've heard from like hospice nurses and stuff, is the death process is natural. And at least in my experience, and I might be wrong, but I find that most of the suffering around death is some form of judgment that we have or somebody else has, and that the body knows what it needs to do in the dying process. And, you know, it's, I don't know, it's like beautiful, but I'm not trying to minimize the pain. The pain of that process in itself is beautiful because it's a testament to the love of the person and what they meant to you and all that they were. So being with that pain and looking at it from the observer, which is not the pain, the observer is the silent witness, which is your consciousness, and looking at that and being like, wow, this person, there's an enjoyment with that. There is an honor. There's like I don't know. There's a reverence to them by appreciating the pain that's showing up. And then there's a tool that Access Consciousness uses called Exit Stage Left that you can like run with them if you're finding that they may be struggling or the transition is hard for them, and you just focus on the words exit stage left, and it helps them realize that they have the choice to go or to stay. That's the idea. But yeah, when my grandfather was passing away, I was with him and I was just like telling him telepathically, I was like, you can go, you can stay, whatever you want. It is cool. You have choice. And yeah. And there's the freedom with that. Okay. Woo, what a fun, this is really amazing. Thank you all for going this deep with me. Just like we had the choice to come here in the first place, exactly. So yeah, I want to thank you all for coming and working with me. And I'm going to say one last plug. The 2023-2024 curriculum will go much deeper into all of this. If you want to learn tarot, read it confidently, read it, get a solid practice together. That's going to start a week from tomorrow with the Tarot Divination course. There are live Zoom classes, but there's also recordings of those classes. So if you can't make the time, you can still sign up for the recordings. This is the last time I'm going to be teaching the Tarot Divination course. So I have more spots than I did. I opened up more spots. So not to be dramatic, but a little bit dramatic because we love the drama, this is the last time to take the Tarot Divination course. And there's probably like 3 or 4 days, maybe less on my calendar that you can apply to do that. So if you want to do that, I'm going to share the link of the curriculum in the chat. Julie says, schedule that interview with Joe. You won't regret it. Thank you, Julie. I always say this, but people come to me to learn tarot, they learn mysticism, but they stay for the community. The community at TMA is so cool. It's the coolest mystical misfits from around the world. Tarot readers, ceremonial magicians, healers, and just great people that are we come together, we show up, we're all looking to help grow ourselves and help other people. And I've had amazing people, Rose, I've had so many students come in to practice sessions, completely surprise themselves with what they can do. And it's just so freaking cool. So if you want to learn tarot confidently and you want to learn it in a way that's really going to help you and help other people, Tarot Divination course is definitely for you. If you want to go beyond that into esoteric tarot, tarot and astrology, and mysticism for misfits, that's my personal favorite thing. That's kind of where I'm gearing towards with the school and with my own life. So if you want to learn some of the mysticism that I introduced to you today with the tetractys, the numbers, and how you can apply it, that stuff will completely change your world. It's changed my world. It's changed the world of many of my students. I've had students have mystical experiences from this work, and it's freaking amazing. It's so fun. And yeah, like we talk about manifestation, we talk about like creating the world you want, and then even going beyond. So I'm really excited for that. Yes, like ever. It is the last time I'm going to teach the Tarot Divination course probably ever, because I love tarot, but I'm really being called to do other work. So last time I'm teaching Tarot Divination course is a week from tomorrow. And yeah. I don't know what it'll be after. And then that will be level 1. And then the rest of the year will focus on esoteric tarot, mysticism, and professional practice. The other courses I'll probably repeat. Like I'll definitely repeat mysticism for misfits, most likely. It might be something else, though. I don't know what it'll be. I'll probably repeat esoteric tarot. I don't know. Maybe I'll repeat none of them. Maybe this is the last year I teach tarot ever, to be honest. Who knows? Like, honestly, part of me wants to go to India and study Advaita Vedanta full time. I don't know. I think I'm too old to do that. But no, I'm really like going to be focusing on mysticism, consciousness, personal development, and active changes and all of that. So it might be the last time I teach these courses ever. Yeah, I mean, I'll still be doing something because the TMA community is amazing, and I want to be working with and maintaining my relationships with the TMA student body for as long as possible, because they're some of the coolest people I've ever met. So we'll be doing something, but I don't know if it'll be Tarot Divination. So last time to enroll in that. And there are like 2 or 3 days left on my calendar. If you want to apply for the Tarot Divination course and you hit apply and there's not a time on my calendar that works for you, please send me an email, because again, I want to get you in this program if you're called to do it, because it might be the last time. So yeah. If you did not get a reading from me today and you would like one, you can always book one on tarotmysticismacademy.com. I think you can hit book a reading. You can book one individually, or I might be doing, I don't know, we'll see. I'm kind of playing with the idea of potentially doing like group reading sessions like this, but just doing reading, and then doing like healing work with those readings together on a Zoom call. Because like I can read you one-on-one, but like my one-off readings are expensive. You know, I have no time ever. So I'm sorry, I have to charge what I charge for my like single readings, because my schedule is just so crazy. But I'm thinking of doing some type of group thing where maybe like 5, 10, 15 people come together. I'll read everybody. And then when things come up, like relationship, love, money, we can work on that together, you know, because we share a lot of similar things, and there's a benefit to doing group work like that. So I don't know, put it in the chat if you're interested in that. Well, Alpaca says, go to India, have a great time. We're supposed to keep moving forward. Maybe. I really want to, you know, I'm kind of a wuss. I really don't leave like travel much anymore, but I am really called to do stuff. All right, so yeah, I'm gonna put in the, oh, I put the link in there already. Did I put in the link? I don't know. I'll do it one more time. So I'm gonna put the link of the curriculum one more time in the chat for anyone that wants to apply. There's a few days left to apply to take Tarot Divination course. Go over the curriculum though, because each course is different, and see what your intuition says. And if now is not the time for you to join Tarot Mysticism Academy, maybe there will be a time in the future, but It won't be Tarot Divination course. It'll be something else, or it might be a pre-recorded version of TDC, or I don't know. There's a lot of things up in the air, but yeah. I'd like to thank everyone so much for showing up and being awesome. And remember, everything I say, take with a grain of salt. You know, these are just ideas that I have found and experienced for me. So yeah. I'm so excited to start with you guys in a week for Tarot Divination course. It'll be so much fun. We have such an amazing cohort, and we're really going to turn up the heat, really put some mysticism on steroids following that, and it's going to be a great year. If you have any questions, you can go to tarotmysticismacademy.com and hit the chat bubble, and you can ask me questions there, or email me at joe@tarotmysticismacademy.com. I love you all so much. And yeah, I will see you in the next wormhole. So much love.